Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right into today's explainer. Look, we've all been there, right? Whether it's a seasonal bug, a cold, or some random viral infection, we've all dealt with a fever. And usually, we just think of it as a massive nuisance, something to just tough out or get rid of so we can get back to our lives. But today, we're going to flip that script. We're looking at fever not as an annoyance, but as a brilliant, highly coordinated biological mechanism. It is literally your body's ultimate defense system. And honestly, the science behind it is absolutely awe-inspiring. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of how it works, we have to talk about a massive paradox that you've definitely experienced. If your body's getting hot, why on earth do you feel so incredibly cold? I mean, why is it that when you're literally burning up, you're also shivering under a mountain of blankets? It's super weird, right? Keep that question in the back of your mind, because as we unravel the biology today, the answer is going to completely blow your mind. Let's dive right in by completely reframing how we actually think about this. Here is the absolute crucial takeaway. A fever is not a disease. Not at all. It is merely a symptom. Actually, it's a very loud, very clear signal that a massive, microscopic battle is raging inside your body right at this second. Your body is basically going to war to protect you. And the fever, that's just the alarm bell ringing to let you know the fight is on. To understand this biological battlefield, we first need to look at peacetime. 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or roughly 37 degrees Celsius. That right there is our baseline. It's your normal, resting body temperature. When everything's calm, when no biological alarms are sounding, this is exactly where your body likes to hang out. Anything slightly above this is a low-grade fever, and a big jump is a high fever. But the whole point of that temperature spike, it's just there to protect you. So how does a fever actually kick off? Okay, imagine this real-world scenario. You touch a contaminated surface, maybe a dirty door handle at the grocery store, and then you accidentally rub your eye. Step 1, the pathogen enters your system. Step 2, your white blood cells, think of them as your immune system's frontline soldiers, they spot the enemy and immediately go on high alert. Step 3, they release these special chemicals called pyrogens. And finally, step 4, those chemicals cause your body temperature to spike. This exact sequence is happening behind the scenes every single time you get sick. Let's zoom in on those chemicals for a second, the pyrogens. When your white blood cell soldiers run into a virus, they don't just fight, they communicate. They release these pyrogens directly into your bloodstream. You can think of pyrogens as tiny messengers sprinting away from the front line directly to the command center in your brain, carrying an urgent alert that the body has been invaded. It is just an incredible communication network. So where exactly are those messengers sprinting to? They're heading straight for the hypothalamus. Now, the hypothalamus is a tiny but incredibly powerful little region in your brain. People often call it the master gland, but for our explainer today, just think of it as your body's internal thermostat. It's the thing responsible for maintaining that 98.6 degree baseline we talked about. When the hypothalamus receives those pyrogens, it instantly realizes the body is under attack and, without missing a single beat, orders your system to turn up the heat. Think about it this way. What do we do when we want to purify something? We boil water to kill the germs inside it, right? Because germs simply cannot survive extreme heat. Well, your body is doing the exact same thing on a biological level. It's intentionally raising its own internal temperature to create an environment where that invading virus or bacteria simply can't survive. And your body gains a massive, twofold strategic advantage by turning up this heat. First, like we said, the high temperature creates a super hostile environment where germs can't easily replicate. But second, and this is the really amazing part, your own white blood cells, those frontline soldiers, actually work so much more efficiently at a higher temperature. So the heat is literally weakening the enemy while giving your own troops a massive power-up at the exact same time. Which brings us right back to the most confusing part of this whole ordeal, the shivering paradox. If your body is deliberately raising its temperature to fight off these germs and you are literally burning up with a fever, why do you feel freezing cold? Why are your teeth literally chattering? The answer is basically a biological miscommunication. Remember the hypothalamus, our internal thermostat? Well, when it gets the alert, it doesn't just instantly make your body hot out of nowhere. It actually changes your target temperature. So if your baseline is 98.6, the hypothalamus might crank the dial all the way up to 102. Your body is physically still sitting at 98.6, but your brain is screaming, hey, we need to be at 102 right now. Because of that gap, your brain tricks your body into thinking it's currently freezing cold. And what does your body naturally do when it thinks it's freezing? It shivers. It's exactly like stepping outside into a blizzard without a winter coat. Your muscles rapidly contract and shake just to generate heat through friction.
So when you have a fever, your body is actually shivering on purpose to rapidly produce the heat it needs to reach that new, higher target of 102 degrees. You feel cold because your brain is telling you, hey, we aren't hot enough yet.
So while you're curled up in bed, shivering and feeling absolutely miserable, there is an incredibly successful war being waged inside you. Under the surface of all that heat, your white blood cells are hyperactive, just wiping out enemies left and right. Your body is pumping out protective antibodies at a much faster rate. Meanwhile, the germ growth just grinds to a halt, and those invading viruses completely fail to multiply. Against all odds, you are winning the war.
Ultimately, it really all comes down to this. Fever is not your enemy. It's your body's defense mode. We spend so much time fighting fevers, taking pills to drop our temperature, and just generally being afraid of them. But the reality is, this heat is your immune system working exactly as it was designed to. It's literally saving your life.
Now, that being said, we always need to be smart and practical about our biology. While a fever is a brilliant defense mechanism, it can get dangerous if that internal thermostat breaks and the heat gets too high. If your temperature is sitting between 99 and 102 degrees Fahrenheit, that's generally considered a normal, safe defense mode. No need to panic at all. But if that temperature crosses 103 degrees, especially for talking about young kids, that transitions into a critical condition. And that is exactly when you need to consult a doctor immediately. And hey, temperature isn't the only metric to watch out for. There are some specific warning signs that tell you the fever is no longer just a standard defense, but a situation that needs urgent medical attention. If you or a loved one are dealing with continuous vomiting, a shockingly severe headache, any sort of breathing problems, unexplained rashes popping up on the body, or mental confusion where things just aren't making sense, please do not wait. Seek medical help right away.
But assuming you are just dealing with a standard, run-of-the-mill, safe defense mode fever, how can you help your body win the fight? It's pretty simple, actionable stuff. First, get plenty of rest. Your body needs all of its energy for the internal battle, not for running errands. Second, drink lots of water to stay hydrated while you're running that high temperature. And, of course, always follow your doctor's advice when it comes to any meds to keep you comfortable. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. So now that you know all about those tiny pyrogen messengers, the master gland hypothalamus, the strategic high heat advantage, and the brilliant reason why we shiver in the first place, are you ever going to view a fever as just an annoyance again? The next time you feel that heat rising, I really hope you can take just a quick second to marvel at the incredibly complex, completely fascinating defense system that's fighting so hard to keep you safe. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today on this deep dive into our own biology. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.